The country in Southeast Africa is increasingly suffering from violence by Islamists. In addition to the recent massacres, there are also the forces of nature. The situation in Mozambique, South Africa, is worrying more and more aid organizations and observers. For example, Misereor country officer Anabela Belo reports that 9 out of 17 districts in Cabo Delgado province are now exposed to constant attacks by armed gangs. The region is difficult to access. There are regular conflicts over land and raw materials there. Welthungerhilfe's program director Bettina Isel said, "The country is not coming to rest. The number of displaced people in Cabo Delgado is increasing, and with it, the need for relief supplies is rising." In addition to violence and political instability, Mozambique also suffers from natural disasters such as cyclones and droughts. In the past 3 years, the security situation in the north of the country has driven 350,000 people to flee, said Care Country Director Mark Nosbach. 90% of them found accommodation with other families, and only 1 in 10 refugees lives in a camp. Refugees have also come to the northern neighboring country of Tanzania. In the natural gas province of Cabo Delgado, Islamist rebels have been raging for 3 years. According to the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project, more than 2,200 people died as a result. Recently, there had been significantly more attacks. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, spoke of a desperate situation for the residents. Thousands of people are trapped in conflict areas and have hardly any means to survive. And in addition, 14,000 people have fled the violence in the past 4 weeks alone. She called on everyone involved to protect civilians in the conflict. But the opposite is the case. Schools, clinics, houses and the infrastructure were in part deliberately destroyed. There have been reports of extreme brutality against civilians by armed groups, said the spokesman for the UN Refugee Agency UNHCR, Anabela Belo. The region is increasingly dominated by an Islamist group with ties to the so-called Islamic State. But in the fight against the insurgents, state forces are sometimes brutal. According to experts, this and the government's neglect of the province are fueling the rebellion. According to several reports, the Islamists recently beheaded more than 50 people, including children, on a football field in a village. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres was shocked by the reports of beheadings and kidnappings of women and children. The government must investigate the events and hold those responsible to account, said his spokesman. The upcoming rain season is an additional concern for the helpers in the region. Heavy rainfall is also expected this year. A year ago, cyclones Idle and Kenneth devastated large parts of the country. Reconstruction is progressing slowly, not least because of conflicts such as in Cabo Delgado. Many Mozambicans affected still have no shelter. Mozambique is one of the poorest countries in the world and is already exposed to the consequences of climate change. Another problem is the inadequate care of the many AIDS sufferers in the country and, recently, the spread of the corona pandemic. And if you now want to know more about global news and politics, YouTube has chosen another of my videos here for you on the end screen, and all the other buttons here are there for you to subscribe to my other channels in the English language. I'll see you on my next video. Click and enjoy. Viel Spaß!